Okay, we're going to make a start now. My name is Jane Dybel. I'm co-chair of Attitude is Everything, and it's my job, and in fact great pleasure, to welcome you all here to Colours in Hoxton. Wait for it. There's going to be lots of... Thanks for all of you for making the time to be here, whether you're here in person or virtually. We know how busy you are and how many demands there are on your time. In fact, I think all of us here should say hello to the people watching. So which camera are we on at the moment? That one over there. Just turn around and shout hello, people at home. You know, you can't share a beer with us, but we're all together in spirit. So, yes, thank you for spending your time with us. This is important. It's important that you help us spread the word about the projects we run here at Attitude is Everything, because we need your help to ensure that the multitude of music and events constituencies, whether labels, publishers, online music services, venues backstage and artists on stage, are truly reflective of the world at large, and that disabled people have every single opportunity available to the rest of our workforce and creators. And for that, we need you to play your part. The phenomenal team at Attitude is Everything are now going to tell you more about what you can do. And so it's my pleasure to now hand over to Phoebe Roberts, Skills Development Manager. Phoebe.
Hello. Thank you, Jane. So, we're here, and after 20 years of organising events for other people, I can confirm that I am the most annoying client ever. So that's nice. It is happening. Over 50, 60 organisations in the room today, over 100 people and organisations overall gathered here today from the music and live events industry, and I think that's a real achievement. I think the fact after the last 2 years, everything the industry have gone through, it's really lovely to see everybody in a room talking about such an important project. So thank you for that. For the few here today that might not know, as an organisation, we work in partnership with audiences, artists, and the events industry to improve access and live events for disabled people. Attitude is Everything has spent 22 years working to make the industry more accessible and ensure everyone who wants to participate can be as independent as they can. And we do this in a number of ways, such as our fantastic live events access charter. This has been our main tool we use to engage with the industry. We also do this through our work with artists, our Next Stage initiative, which is run by the fantastic Rich, who unfortunately can't be here today, works with artists, funders and promoters to reduce and remove the barriers that affect deaf and disabled performers and musicians. And now, since 2020, we do it with our project Beyond the Music. So, more about Beyond the Music. Beyond the Music is a 3-year programme funded by the National Lottery Reaching Communities Fund. The aim of the project is to make the industry more accessible for disabled people who already do or aspire to work in it, and eradicate the barriers that stop both people from applying for jobs in the industry, but then them also disclosing their impairments when they do so. Our aim is to move beyond reasonable adjustments and make it a standard part of every new starter to be asked, what do you need to work best as an individual? The project means that for the first time, Attitude is Everything are providing a full wraparound offer around accessibility. That encompasses every deaf and disabled person within the industry, whether they're a fan, an artist, or someone who aspires to work or volunteer in the industry. It says deep breath here, so I'm just taking a deep breath. So, more about Beyond the Music. In March 2020, yes, that's right, we started a project at the beginning of a global pandemic. We set out and went about delivering the project in 2 main ways. Supporting the music and live events industry to become a more accessible place to work for disabled people, and providing opportunities for deaf and disabled people to gain skills and experience. We've naturally gone about the project in a two-prong approach, working with the industry to engage them, and Paul will be talking to you more about that, but I want to talk to you about our network and what we've done in the last 2 years to set up and support the growing talented pool of disabled people that already do and aspire to work in the industry. So, the Beyond the Music Network. The network is a safe space for deaf and disabled and neurodivergent people working or seeking to work in the industry to meet, network, share and find support around navigating the industry. The network currently has 150 members and is growing, which for a 2-year project we feel is a really positive thing. We're always looking to grow that membership. And we've offered that network a number of things. Our series of access hours, our hour introductory sessions with an industry professional that have covered everything from talks from PRS on rights and royalties to artist management, record labels, event production, radio plugging, publishing, and an explanation on the range of roles that are available in the industry today. We also delivered a 9-week introduction to event production course that we ran in October and November of last year. We have since learnt that sessions like these, which are tasters into a specific area of the industry, are really useful to our network members, as through our survey and focus groups we learned that not only have our members faced barriers in obtaining jobs in the industry, but have also been discouraged from courses and education to learn about what's out there and how the industry works. And this needs to change. So alongside these structured opportunities for disabled people to develop their skills through training, in our 3rd year, we've started our Future Leaders project, which again, Paul will talk about in his presentation. With the help of you guys today, offering mentoring, shadowing, skilled employment, volunteering opportunities to the future leaders and other members of our network, we're incredibly excited. And we're also happy to have some of our future leaders here today. So do seek them out and chat to them about what they've been doing. Our network also has access through our monthly newsletter to our jobs bulletin board, where we advertise your roles and job opportunities. To date, we've advertised over 100 jobs. So finally, before I introduce our first film, I want to say, as somebody myself who identifies as neurodivergent, I can tell you from first-hand experience that having an organisation that supports my needs and understands my disability has dramatically changed the way I work. Not to feel singled out, to feel part of a team, and to have a really simple adjustments made. I'm more productive, I'm more confident, and I know that I'm an all-round better industry professional. And that can only be a good thing. It was an example of how you guys can really change people's lives, like Attitude has changed mine. So I think that's a really positive thing to take away. So with that said, I'd like to thank you all again for being here today and to present you with our first short film, which is aimed at those wanting to join our network. Thank you.
Do you want to work in the music industry?
Do you identify as being deaf, disabled, neurodivergent, or having a long-term physical or mental health condition?
Yes.
Then keep watching.
At Attitude is Everything, we have created a network for people like us called Beyond the Music. We know the music industry wants to be more inclusive, and we have the network and the contacts to make that happen. The Beyond the Music Network is a safe space to come and learn more about the music industry, even if you work in it already or you aspire to do so.
The Beyond the Music Network now has over 150 members.
Now that I'm part of a network like Beyond the Music, and I can see other professionals with lived experience of disability in roles that I just thought, that's not a role for me. Now I know that it is, I feel so much more empowered to pursue my own goals.
I heard very good things about Attitude is Everything. I felt supported by the group.
Being around people that understand you for who you are and also able to contribute to each other's growth and professionalism. is priceless.
We know that just because you're deaf, disabled, neurodivergent, or have a long-term physical or mental health condition doesn't mean that you're not inspired, passionate, creative, talented, and ready.
Being part of the network, it's given me a sense of what the pathway I want to go down looks like.
Whatever career you want to do in the music industry, we want to help you to succeed.
I tweet about new music.
Really, the Beyond the Music Network, for me, is a place where I can make sense of the industry and share solidarity with other people.
My passion to actually still be in this industry is to show others that, you know, look at me and see themselves in me, that you have a place and you are welcome.
If a disabled person could see someone like you succeed in the music industry, they would believe that they too can succeed. So by joining the network, you can drive change across the industry.
If you feel that Beyond the Music speaks to you, then join our network.
To learn more about the network and sign up, visit attitudeiseverything.org.uk/professionals.
Okay, hi everyone. I am Paul Hawkins, Head of Volunteering and Skills Development at Attitudes Is Everything. I've got a clicker I'm going to use in a minute, and we'll see how that pans out. I'm going to talk about the role we would like the music industry to play in making Beyond Music a success. It's great for us to be standing here, have a chance to stand here and tell you all about the work we're doing, but what we really want to do is to support all of you to get in a position where you can talk about the brilliant things that you're doing to drive improvements in accessibility, inclusivity and equity in the industry, and to make music more accessible. And this work is really necessary. This might be the first slide. No, not yet. There we go. I should have. We've rehearsed this incredibly competently. So 19% of working age adults in the UK could be considered disabled under the Equality Act. But a 2019 Arts Council England survey found that just 1.8% of staff at Arts Council funded music organisations reported themselves as being disabled. UK Music's 2021 Workforce Diversity Survey had a higher figure of 12%, but we don't know if self-selection played a part in this. And it still suggests, compared to that 19%, that disabled people are still considerably underrepresented in the industry. And part of the reason why we think is the same survey from UK Music found that 1 in 5 disabled people in the industry had faced workplace discrimination, and 1 in 4 had not been given a reasonable adjustment. Around the same time at the beginning of last year, we carried out some research of our own, and we spoke to disabled people working in the industry and aspiring to work in the industry. And what we found is that 79% of our respondents believed that barriers related to access had impacted on their career. We also found that 67% did not always make employers or potential employers aware of their impairments. And we found that 51% have withdrawn from the job application process due to a lack of accessibility. Whilst we were working on a relatively small sample, we also noticed two particular trends. And the sample numbers mean we can't say this definitively, but certainly the survey suggested that people who work in music and live events are less likely to reveal that they're disabled than people who work outside the industry. And people who are impacted by other forms of discrimination, such as around race, gender or sexuality, were less likely to disclose an impairment. Unfortunately, both of these trends do make some sense. We know the music industry is an industry where a lot of work is freelance and a lot of jobs can be insecure, especially, of course, during a global pandemic. And there's an inherent risk in bringing your whole self to work if you fear your employer might see the fact you're different as a reason not to continue your employment. And particularly in that environment, someone who's already experienced discrimination may be fearful of revealing more about themselves that could potentially perpetuate that discrimination. And unfortunately, the reality is that many disabled people do not perceive the industry to be accessible. In September 2021, Harbourside Management carried out a survey which was funded by Arts Council England. And what Harbourside found, they spoke to people who were in the industry, who were disabled or had a long-term health condition. They found missed those slides, but 90% of people felt that the lack of visibility of disabled people in the music industry was creating underrepresentation in the industry, so a lack of role models really creates a lack of access. 73% felt extended work hours and a lack of flexibility were also a barrier. And 79% felt there were a lack of opportunities for young disabled people, and that was a factor in disabled people not entering the industry. And I think the most startling stat which they found is this one. 69% of the respondents who did not disclose their impairment believed that they were putting their own health and safety at risk as a result of not talking about their impairment, but would rather put their health and safety at risk than talk to their employers about what they needed due to that level of fear. And disclosure, safety is a big point, but it's not just a matter of safety. If people do not feel comfortable explaining what they need to do their job well, then they're not going to reach their potential. I know from my own experience, I spent much of my 20s trying to avoid disclosing my impairments, and that only really served to hold back my career and simply convince employers that I wasn't very good at my job. It was only in my 30s, when I took control of my identity as a disabled person and set out the adjustments I need as an employee, that I began to succeed in the workplace. And there's a certain irony in all this, in that disabled people may not perceive the industry to be accessible, but we began this project in March 2020 in the midst of a global pandemic. Being completely honest, I really thought when we went out and spoke to people, there would be a lot of people who said, look, there's a pandemic we're dealing with, we don't have the money, we don't have the resources, and we're not interested. I'm going to be honest, that was what I expected. But I have been surprised and really impressed by how many people within the industry want to make changes. Challenges exist, but we know there are a lot of people, many of them in the room today, who do not want the industry to return to the old normal, but to come back from the pandemic as a working environment that's inclusive and accessible to everyone. And it's really important to stress that we see Beyond the Music as part of a whole body of work going on at the moment to make the industry equitable and truly reflective of society. We want to support you to become more accessible, but we want to work in support and solidarity with those who are also tackling barriers in the industry around gender, around race, around childcare, and around all the other barriers to inclusion that exist within the music industry, and exist simply because the music industry reflects society and those barriers exist in society. Disabled people do not exist in a microcosm, and this industry will not be accessible for disabled people unless it's accessible for all disabled people. And we know that disabled women and disabled people of colour can face multiple barriers to inclusion. And ultimately, good intentions to change the industry are great, but they can only have an impact if they're supported by meaningful action. And we've learned through Attitudes Everything's history that very often part of the challenge is that people want to make changes but don't know where to start. And because they don't know where to start, they don't get started. So in a few minutes, I am going to talk about what Beyond the Music can offer to help you make changes within your organisation. But before I do that, I'm really excited to announce and show the second of our two films about Beyond the Music. Now, the last film was aimed at people who want to sign up to the network, but this film is about explaining our offer to the industry, and it introduces the different elements that Beyond the Music can offer the industry. Before I go on, I want to thank Andy and Paul, who made the film. And I want to thank all the contributors who gave their time to help us make both films. So Yasmin, Nick, Harry, Lauren, Adam, Raimonda, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your time. And also, I just quickly want to say a thank you to Phoebe, who's put the event together today and has made sure that all I need to do is stand up and say a few words. So thank you very, very much, Phoebe. So without further ado, although that kind of was some further ado, I'm now going to introduce the film.
12 months ago, if someone had talked to us about hiring someone who is deaf, disabled or neurodivergent, I would have felt incredibly nervous. I think the fear is about saying the wrong thing.
1 in 6 of the UK population are considered disabled under the Equality Act. These are people who face and solve problems every day throughout their lives.
Nearly 80% of disabled people felt held back in their careers by avoidable barriers.
Beyond the Music wants to partner with your organisation to create opportunities for people who are deaf, disabled, neurodivergent, or have a long-term physical or mental health condition.
We want to support your organisation to become accessible, inclusive employers who are able to attract the best talent possible and support them to thrive in whatever role they're doing.
Often people from privileged backgrounds enter the industry because for me that's a very blinkered view, and I think we need to widen our horizons. But for me that's really exciting.
We're here to help connect you with our network of people who can offer your business a new perspective and a fresh approach.
The Beyond the Music project has supported us in many ways. Number one being providing us with the Accessible Employment Guide.
What the industry can do is start by signing up to Beyond the Music programme and have a look through the Accessible Employment Guide and see how they can start to implement that within their organisations. Not only are you signing up and pledging to try and become a more inclusive company, but you're also sort of changing the face of what the industry does actually look like.
When I show up to the employer, that employer has already a knowledge of how I'm different, any challenges that I may face, and any reasonable adjustments that need to be made. It's really comforting to be able to go to work and not feel like you have to hide who you are.
We're on hand to support you with accessible job descriptions, salaries and recruitment processes, as well as advice and guidance throughout a placement.
Specifically with autism, it creates a big barrier because you can't tell when I'm nervous because I'm laughing and I'm smiling, and you can't tell when I'm down because I have to pick myself up.
So the opportunities I had to participate in the live music industry before joining the Beyond the Music network were quite sparse.
Beyond the Music not only helps people like myself, it also helps employers and businesses.
The industry has responded with great enthusiasm for the Beyond the Music campaign. It's personally instilled confidence in me to be able to offer greater career opportunities.
There's so much perspective that people who are neurodivergent can bring to any environment, whether it's corporate or creative. It just has this knock-on effect for so many people, and even for people that don't identify as disabled.
Employers miss out on over 50% of disabled talent because of inaccessible job applications.
We're here to help you become a business leader for people who are deaf, disabled or neurodivergent. Get in touch with the details below.
Play your part. Visit attitudeseverything.org.uk/professionals.
Thank you very much. And after so long of working on this, it's just really, really nice to actually be able to show it to people, and really excited by that. So we're going to talk about some of the things we offer on Beyond the Music. So one of the first pieces of work we did was our Accessible Employment Guide. So the guide was launched in May 2021 and has now been downloaded over 750 times. And we know it's not only had an impact on the music industry, but it's being used in parts of the charity sector, the video games industry, which is pretty cool, and the finance industry. I mean, the music industry is pretty cool as well. I mean, well, it's not a competition. The concept of the guide is simple. We felt that existing schemes, such as the Disability Confidence Scheme, are great, and they provide a lot of detail to get it right. But sometimes the comprehensiveness of the documents can be a barrier to many people, especially in small businesses like HR department, as it makes accessibility in the workplace look like a potentially challenging and complex task. So what we try to do with the Accessible Employment Guide is counter that by making our guide as straightforward and as accessible as possible. So in each section, so whether it's accessible recruitment, line management, organising meetings, managing freelancers, or one of our multiple other areas, we lay out 10 immediate steps that you can take to start improving your accessibility today. Now, this is the start of a journey, and we're not saying that every step is right for every disabled person. But the important thing is we can support you to immediately start thinking differently and making changes in the workplace and beginning to commit to becoming the most accessible employer you can be. I have a couple of quotes I wanted to share in support of the guide. So the first is from the Association of Independent Music, who have been fantastic supporters of Beyond the Music from the outset. And they said, every business in music should download this guide. And if you're not the person who deals with employment where you work, send this to them. They will thank you for it. The second is from Harbourside Management, who's research I talked about earlier. The Accessible Employment Guide is a huge step forward in simplifying and demystifying some of the assumptions employers sometimes make, and will hopefully be a valuable resource for the industry going forward. You can download the guide right now, or you can talk to us at the networking at the end about how to start implementing changes. If you're watching online today, you can drop me an email at paul@attitudeseverything.org.uk. Now, we also have a training offer. We can offer you a training course over 1 day or 2 half days that will support you to create an accessible workplace environment. We look at recruitment and selection, accessible line management, making reasonable adjustments, positively managing absences, supporting mental health, and above all, making meaningful changes to your workplace culture. Again, members of our team will be available to talk to you about our training when we get to the networking bit at the end. But again, if you're watching online, you can submit any inquiries to our business support officer, Claire. Her email address is Claire, that's C-L-A-R-E, at attitudeseverything.org.uk. We can also advise you about policies and processes that you are putting into place. I can talk you through how to make changes in your organisation. I want to be clear on this, that we are access professionals rather than HR professionals. But all of our work is supported by a steering group of 8 music venues from across the UK and a steering group of independent professionals with lived experience of barriers through disability. This helps make sure we are putting together an offer that's right for the industry and is right for the people who want to work in it. You can speak to me or Gideon during the networking section if you want to find more about this. If you're watching online, you can drop Gideon an email at gideon@attitudeseverything.org.uk. So that's what we can offer. Now, what would we like from you? So we're always on the lookout for partners. We have got, as Phoebe's talked about, a network of over 150 disabled professionals who want to work in the industry. And we want to support them with mentoring opportunities and placements. There are different types of placement we're interested in. If you can offer someone a paid placement, that is brilliant, and we'll love you forever for doing so. However, it might be you can only offer someone a one-off experience opportunity to come into your organisation, learn about what you do, or a structured opportunity to come in a few times or, kind of find out about a particular project. The one thing we cannot support is any kind of unpaid placements which are about someone carrying out a task for you for free rather than developing their own knowledge or experience. It's got to be about something which is educational and beneficial for the person. If you're interested in offering a placement, you can speak to Phoebe during the networking or email Phoebe on phoebe@attitudeseverything.org.uk, and obviously if you're watching online, again, you can email Phoebe. Now, we know not everyone who works in the industry is immediately job ready, and we're also looking at how we can support those who want a chance to learn about different roles in the industry and figure out where to go next. We've run, as Phoebe's mentioned, a number of online access hours where people in the industry introduce their work to members of our network. And we're currently working with another charity, Inclusion London, on setting up monthly meetings targeted at people with learning difficulties, where they can learn more about the industry and people who work in it. We'd be very keen to hear from anyone who would be happy to volunteer some of their time coming along to one of these meetings and simply talking about the work you do and the roles available in the industry. The last thing I want to talk about is our Future Leaders programme. This is a piece of work we're really excited about. We've recruited 11 people who are entering the industry with lived experience of barriers with disability, who we believe have the attributes and drive needed to be leaders of the industry in the future. Over the coming months, we're supporting them with mentoring, placements, and learning and aiding their development. We're very keen for all of you to play your part in supporting our future leaders, whether it's by offering placements, simply offering some of your time for one-off meeting, talk about the work you do, or inviting them to come to talk to you, and so your leadership team can learn from their own experience of the industry and some of the barriers they face. I'm really pleased that some of the future leaders are here tonight, and we would encourage you to seek them out, join the networking, as we honestly really have some absolutely exceptional talent, and we were really excited by who applied and who's part of the scheme, and we think we've got some utterly brilliant people that we're really thrilled to be working with. We believe the industry will only have truly changed when we see role models at the top of the industry who can show other disabled people this is an industry for everyone. And what we want to do with the Future Leaders Programme is leave a long-term legacy where in 10, 20 years' time we look at the industry and see meaningful change. Thank you for listening to me. I'm going to hand you back over to Phoebe.
Well, I think now we're going to just move down onto the floor and we're going to have a few words from Suzanne, our founder.
Is this the right position for you? Well, hello everyone. It's nice to be with you all in person as well as online as well. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of Attitude is Everything, and I've been around for years. I think we can all agree that Phoebe has put together an amazing event and film today, supported by Paul. Congratulations, and also to all of the Attitude is Everything team members who have helped. You're brilliant as always. So, whilst preparing my speech, I've been reflecting upon my own career path, and I've come to the following conclusion. All you need is one person to take a chance on you and to create the appropriate conditions so that you can thrive. I'm lucky to have met several of those pivotal people in my life. Individuals that have recognised my talent, individuals that have noticed that I approach things differently because I'm disabled, yet I still get results. And they've realised that they need that kind of creativity and freer thinking in their organisation. They've encouraged me to say what I need in terms of access requirements and being attentive and kind, because they've seen that as a young person, it wasn't always so easy for me to voice what I needed from a workplace. And the best bit about all of this was, of course, that I went on a journey with my mentors and my past employers. We tried not to make assumptions about one another, and we worked out how we were going to make my employment work together. But interestingly, I've never managed to work in the music industry until I set up Attitude is Everything. Lots of disabled people turn into entrepreneurs and get their own businesses up and running so they can feel comfortable and fulfilled by work. I set up Attitude is Everything because I wanted all of that and more. I wanted to change the status quo, and I'm delighted to see that Beyond the Music gives people chances and supports the music events and live events industries to give opportunities that my generation never had. Having seen the film and listened to the personal perspectives of all our participants on Beyond the Music, whether they be a disabled participant or from a music or live events organisation, I'm hoping this will galvanise you into taking action. There are so many talented disabled people that we support, talent which the creative industries are missing out on, and creative talent which, nurtured in the right way by employers, can transform and enrich music, arts and culture. Phoebe, Paul and the rest of the Attitude is Everything team and me will be around at the networking event, so please come and discuss how you can contribute to Beyond the Music, or simply catch up with us because we haven't seen many of you for a long time. But before I leave you all to your networking, I've just got something to add. So if you've been to Attitude is Everything events before, you'll know that they often coincide with the team member's birthday. And today is really no exception. Paul. So you all know our brilliant team member, Paul. Paul is so dedicated to Attitude is Everything that he's given up a big birthday for us. So... So the least we can do is wish Paul a happy birthday. Big up Paul Hawkins, everyone.
So Yes, thank you everybody. As you know now, we're going to move through into the bar area. There's going to continue to be complimentary drinks, so please do help yourself to those. As we said, a bit of networking. There's some handouts if anyone wants to take away some kind of physical stuff. There's a form to fill in if you're an organisation that wants to know more, and we can send you more. And obviously there's people around and future leaders to talk to. So go and enjoy yourselves for the next couple of hours, and thank you again so much for coming, and happy birthday, Paul.
Apparently there's cake as well.